Hello everyone and welcome back. This will be guest commentary on a battle that a friend of mine did, username Artificial Eloquence. And he did a really good job in this battle, so let's check it out. Alright, we'll start with his missile units, because you could almost say this guy is a missile corps. 3 bow warrior monks, I mean that makes a pretty good missile corps. He's got some good infantry supporting it. Let's see, 2 katana samurai, 2 nodachi samurai, 2 lone sword ashigaru, and 2 naginata samurai, so pretty widely varied infantry there. I'm kind of surprised he didn't bring any yari, because without any cavalry, he's going to be very vulnerable to cavalry attacks, so I think I would want to have at least 1 or 2 yari samurai there to guard against him, but not a bad setup. Let's look at the enemy. A lot of katanas. Let's see, I'm going to count 7 of them, and then he also has 1, 2, 3 yari samurai, and then 2 yari cavalry. So both of these armies are pretty extreme. One is bent towards infantry with no missile units, and one is bent toward infantry and missile units with no cavalry. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, like I said in a previous video, who has the missile advantage is pretty much going to decide who's going to be the attacker, if both people are strategic enough. Because when you have the bow advantage, you can press them really hard in the skirmishing and force the other guy to come out and hit you, because who wants to just sit there getting ripped up by arrows? So, with these bow warrior monks especially, they're very good at the skirmishing and goading people into attack because they have such a long range, and they have really powerful bows that can pierce armor and just rip through samurai even. So, Artificial Eloquence will be taking the offensive here, but the red guy makes a lot of good aggressive moves early to try and neutralize those bows. Now he has 2 yari cavalry hidden in the forest, 1 on each side. See, one showed itself over here, the other will shortly from over here. And given that this guy has the infantry advantage, I think, with 7 katana samurai, that's pretty huge, and this guy only has 2. He also has the 2 nodachis, and naginatas, lone swords. I mean, all these units will get beaten by his katana samurai, except these 2 katana samurai, obviously. So he has a big infantry advantage. What I might have done if I were the red guy is just sacrifice my cavalry to make sure these bows died. He should have hit early, because what Artificial Eloquence is going to do, he's going to hide his bows here in these trees. They have such a long range, he's just going to be able to nail these katanas. And once they got into the trees, they were pretty much immune to cavalry attack. So, he wouldn't be able to neutralize them early, so he should have jumped out quickly, recognized the missile disadvantage, and just hit him hard, because that was the only area he had the disadvantage in, was the missile advantage. So if he would have hit early and taken out the bows, could have won this battle. But his attack was pretty sloppy too, so let's see, he's going to shift everybody over, knowing that Artificial's going to take these trees. And if I were him too, I would have met him in the middle and been able to cut him off from this forest, because once Artificial sets himself up in these trees, he has a very strong defensive position that he can attack with his bows from. So, we got the armies shifting over. Artificial's going to send up his bows soon to be hitting the line. Here we go. And you'll see him just rip through these katana samurai. This one pretty much is destroyed. They get down to like 30 men. This one gets cut down to about 3/4 strength. So see, that volley took out about 10. So yeah, they're just going to tear these katanas apart. Fire attacks come in. Ouch. Alright, now he's sending katanas around here. I don't like this attack that he does, for a few reasons. One, you have the infantry advantage. So you want everybody to hit at the same time and tie him down as much as possible so you can just cut him down. But the biggest problem with this attack is when you spread people out so thin, they're so far from your general, they really lose a lot of morale. And when you're packed in close like this, your morale is a lot higher, because not only do you feel more secure with all your friends here in this little area, but you're closer to the general too. So if I would have attacked, it would have been much more compact, probably stretching just as long as the tree line. But look how far he's sending everybody in an attempt to surround them. Now, surrounding them's generally a good idea if you have the infantry advantage, but you don't want to spread them out that much. My other biggest complaint with this attack is, what's his cavalry doing? Now, I'm all for flanking, but you want to make sure your flanking action gets there in time to be relevant, and they don't. The cavalry gets there about the same time the battle's over. So look how far he's moving everybody. I don't know, what's the point of it? You want your infantry to all hit kind of at the same time, with maybe just a few seconds between your main line and the reserves hitting. So the katanas are going to take the brunt of the force here, and he has experienced veteran katanas, 3 chevrons, so they're going to fight really well. No dachis are there too. They don't get off a good charge, but in this kind of situation, just needs to hold him down. Look how far his general is, not a good thing. His command radius probably only hits these 2 units right here, and so that's why you'll see a lot of wavering. Alright, so the cavalry is around there, still not relevant at this point. So, a good idea for the red guy to attack early and try and neutralize that missile advantage, but pretty sloppy. Not a very good attack. Way too spread out. Just, I don't know, it was just a bad attack. It was a good idea to attack, and look, his cavalry's going to come in way too late into the forest. I mean, he's pretty much gone now. There's not much chance he has, and they're so spread out. Now his bow monks are still shooting, and of course they're shooting the general with their armor-piercing bows. They're going to do some good damage to a general's bodyguard. Just putting him in stand and fight here, try and rally his men, but I mean they're too spread out. They're just going to get cut down. It's not a good thing. And, so I guess my commentary is pretty simple about this battle. He's going to concede the battle here before everybody's routed. So, good move on his part not to rage quit and just disconnect. It's pretty shitty of you to do something like that. If you lose a battle, you can just hit escape and click concede battle, and it's done. Like, if you know you're screwed, you can just end it and take the loss, learn something, move on. So don't pull the plug or something. That's really, really, really a dick move. So, anyway, I guess I'm going to talk about this real quick. Despite his infantry disadvantage, his infantry did a really good job of winning this battle. So why? Well, he's got his 2 katana samurai up here taking the brunt. Good idea. You want your katanas right there where the fighting's heaviest. Kind of had his no dachis here in reserve, and they were able to just swarm up and hit anybody else who came up. The lone swords here are also upgraded, so they're not as bad as you think. And once they surrounded this katana samurai, they were able to win. So he broke his army up into chunks, and even though I said he had an infantry advantage, he didn't really have a numbers advantage. The surrounding your enemy only really works if you have a numbers advantage, because if you don't have the numbers advantage, you're just kind of spreading yourself thin. Especially, you're putting your guys far away from your general, which is really bad for morale. I'd rather be a guy fighting in this huge group here, surrounded by my friends, than to be way over here, where it's just your unit, basically, and maybe one other, against this whole horde here, it seems. It's really bad for morale, so a good response by the red guy, but not well executed. So, Artificial Eloquence did a good job. He had the initiative in this battle, since he had the huge missile advantage, having no missile units to threaten him. He's able to just peck away and force the red guy to attack him, and he had this strong defensive position. And so, could really lose. Really good use of the terrain. Know your army, and pick a spot that is good for them. So good job. Thanks for watching, everybody.